All right, and welcome back to the stream. I am Bahamut, your caster. This is a Nexus game series matchup here. We are going to have Alaska versus ReGen. So, on the left-hand side, obviously Alaska, and on the right-hand side, ReGen. Make sure I got my going out tweet. Okay, I think I hit it. Tell your friends about it. Come on by. Come see the games. Like, I'm so excited about this. The main thing is that actually Alaska and ReGen, like, they've scrimmed over time. Like, these teams have known each other for a bit. So, I'm excited about this. I mean, these guys, they play against each other. They talk to each other. They smack talk. So, I'm really, really excited about this matchup here. So, we are going to be going into Cursed Hollow. That was won over by Alaska, so they went ahead and picked the first map, which is obviously Cursed Hollow here. And then that is also going to be ReGen getting first ban, first pick. They're going to go ahead and get rid of that Stukov. Not a bad idea at all here, mostly because of the fact that he does offer very good zoning. There was the change to his range, so like before it was kind of like, oh, you can't sort of pick Stukov into a Garrosh. If you paired them together, yes, you can do that, but an actual ETC ban here, that's interesting. They must not want to have ReGen get that first pickup. I've seen on the side of Alaska, they play it a lot, and ReGen, as of late, I mean, honestly, I want to say I've seen it mostly during NGS, maybe a little bit during Chair League in the past when I used to cast them. I can't remember. But either way, the ETC is just, it's being prioritized by almost every team, to be honest. Let's be realistic here. And just that ban is really, really strong. He's really good on this map. He offers a global technically. They're going to actually first pick the Greymane here. A lot of versatility for him, and I really like that. What does Alaska pick up, though, in response in these 1-2 slots? Oftentimes we see the teams mostly going for a healer and a tank combination here. Sorry, I stuttered through that. They mostly pick up those two things together because of the fact that it doesn't show most of your draft. Banning out the ETC is just an overall good ban. So I really think that that's the route they're going to be going into. Now, Cursed Hollow being quite a big map, we often see the Brightwing. But I honestly think the Rhaegar is really good. Actually, you could go into an Ariel like Vala combination here. It doesn't show much. You technically can threaten the Cho'Gall if you want, and actually, that's not a bad idea. I mean, for Cursed Hollow, but it really depends on what the team's going to go for. I mean, if you don't want to show your draft, you go... So they're going to go for the Rhaegar and then probably Garrosh? I think the repositioning from is very... Okay, so they're going to pick up Garrosh here. I really like that. The Rhaegar and the Garrosh is just... They're very, very strong picks in and of themselves because of the fact that you have... the toss from Garrosh, which is repositioning. You have the pull, which is also the displacement from that backline. Then you have Rhaegar with that second health bar with the Ancestral Healing, and then you also just, the chain heals, the bounce is really, really good here. So overall, it's a strong pickup on the side of Alaska. Now, before we go into the ban phase, ReGen's going to have this 2-3 slot, and they're going to go for an Abathur Tyrael, or very early Abathur, but a Tyrael nonetheless. Tyrael offering quite good control on this map, and especially with the double boss. I wonder if... I think Alaska should either pick or ban Falstead here. Ooh, but the Sanctification will just mitigate. I'm like, oh, Falstead would be strong here, but mostly, like, Falstead would be strong on the side of ReGen, realistically, I think. But Lucio, not a bad idea. The speed and rotation, as well as the AoE buff, the sound barrier could be pretty useful if they do have some sort of burst. Maybe they go into a Gul'dan here, or they go into a Kel'Thuzad. But the sound barrier does... I like the Lucio overall. It's just, I don't know. I fear the global on the side of... ReGen. I think they do play Falstead often. It would work on this map, and it's also going to work with their composition. But ban-wise, honestly, at this point, I think they just need to focus on something maybe they know one of the players plays. So, I mean, we often see Sierras here on the side of Alaska. He is their solo laner. He typically goes for the Zagara, that being very powerful on this map. I wouldn't be surprised to see ReGen banning it out here. It's a little bit of a risk to let it through, in my opinion, because we have seen just the overall map value that he gets. Typically, we see him in game 1, and then it gets banned out in game 2 almost like right away. But that's curious because at the same time, Murda on the side of ReGen, he could pick up the solo laner Zag as well. So it's something they need to consider here. But they're going to go for the Malthael. Worried about the AoE, the dive, as well as potential. They're probably going to be going into a second tank here. So maybe that's them kind of showing that they're going to be going to the Dahaka potentially. ReGen has done double global. That will kind of work. Technically be triple global if you really think about it. But at the same time, Alaska can go ahead and pick up those two heroes themselves, and that wouldn't be bad at all. The Dahaka is really good for their composition. And they could go into the Zagara for this. Well, no, because the Dahaka will be the solo laner. So then they could just maybe go for some sort of range damage. Like a Lunara would be pretty good here. There's not a lot of healers who really strive against the Lunara. Well, I'm not a support main, so I really can't say that too much. But like, I think that Lunara gets a lot of value with poison, and with the healers that are currently available in the pool, I think she would be quite annoying to deal with. And the vision you'd get from her is very powerful. But we're gonna go into a Falstead and Chromie, so that's okay. So this is the thing I kind of mentioned. I was like, oh, Alaska, they can just pick up the Falstead, so that why ban it? And then the Lucio, so makes sense. But then I kind of mentioned Sanctification, because if they do get a Sanctification at the same time as the Gus, it's just mitigated. Now, if they kill the Tyrael and there's no Sanctification, it's the same thing, because Chromie's going to be dropping sand into that backline constantly. And that's actually going to pose a little bit of an issue for, I believe, Zul'Kan, who plays the Abathur for ReGen. Mostly because of the fact that Chromie can get that the Time Walker's Pursuit at level 1, providing some of the vision. So if they do get the vision on Abathur, look to see some sort of maybe poke over the wall with the Chromie, or just overall maybe some, push into that lane, forcing him out. So I really like the Chromie pick because it's going to offer them a lot of vision. The versatility from Falstead's going to be very good. But I completely did not talk about these last two picks. We have to think about healer and solo laner. I'm thinking Dahaka and... Okay, so they go for the global from Morales, but they get the blow up from Jaina. I guess she has some range poke too. I mean, it's a well-versed composition. I worry a little bit about the Morales. Now, I casted a game last night where it's just, if you dive the Morales and you can get a... Granted, that was a big blow up too. I mean, there's a power slide into a polymorph into it. It was just all the damage went straight under, so obviously it just looked very strong in the favor of the team last night. But either way, that's interesting. Morales here. Heal bot from the back, the grenade displacement. They've got a lot of good poke on the side of ReGen. So they really can delay out these curse points. And that's going to give a lot of value for Abathur here. So I really like the composition of ReGen because it is very Abathur forward. But this last pick on the side of Alaska, I think they're going to need... Maybe they go double global Dahaka here? They're going to need something. Nope, they go for the Zagara. So technically still double global, post 10 obviously. That's interesting. Okay, so they still go for the Zagara here. I was thinking they would go for something a little bit more melee, but they've got a lot of range on the side of Alaska here. So, I mean, overall, this is going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of very... long engagements over these points. We'll see. Curious to see Zagara going up against Abathur too. That's going to be... I'm curious to see how the laning is going to be going for that. But either way, let's get into this game. On the left-hand side, we have Alaska with Hedgie on Falstead, Bubble This on Garrosh, Rexpa on Chromie, Varen on Rhaegar, and Sierras on Zagara. On the right-hand side, we have ReGen with Murda on Greymane, Zul'Kan on Abathur, Savior on Lieutenant Morales, Templar on Tyrael, and Turtles on the Jaina. And I just got to point out, great portrait synergy. The only thing that I don't understand is why on both teams, only one person is not showing their level. That's interesting. Only 2 people. Like, 1 person on either side. Either way. Little things. Let's get into this game. Oops. There we go. Alrighty. So these level 1 talents, let us take a peek here. We have the Season Marksman for Falstad. It's typical. Time Markers Pursuit, as we talked about in draft. The Baneling extension, nothing too out of the ordinary, honestly.
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
Now I'm curious to see if Jaina's going to be going into the Lance build here for the extra poke, or, ooh, are they going to cheese a tower on top? That is the Ice Lance build starting out for her. They are currently moving as a 4-stack into this top. Well, excuse me, 5-stack, I guess. Abathur did. Zul'Kan did dive up there. There is the potential. They are just, it looks like they're going to go ahead and try and get onto this point. They start to dive onto Sierra's, and he is going to be the first blood of the game. But unfortunately, Templard, are you able to get over the wall, bud? There you go. All right. So they cheese a little bit of the gate, and they get the early game kill. But at this point, the other thing that we need to consider here is, okay, they got the early game kill, yes, but who's in your bottom lane? There's no one in your mid lane, and the experience value is currently even. So this is the whole thing, like, you open up the wall, you took some tower shots out, yeah, but unfortunately now you have to reposition your entire team across the map again. So it's just one of these things, like, yeah, it works out, but on a map of this magnitude with 0 global value, I worry about that. But either way, I mean, it looks like they're just setting up in lane. And as you can see, experience is pretty much even. That kill gave, like, a split second more of a turnover for the level, I believe. But either way, this should be pretty equal throughout the game. In bottom lane, we're going to be having Murda versus Hedgie here. In the mid, we're going to have Varen Bubble This, Rexpa versus Turtles and Savior. And then in the top lane, looks like we're going to have Zagara versus, excuse me, Sierra's versus Templar, with Zul'Kan in that backline to kind of back up with some of that damage over time. Or, well, with the Locust. And just speaking to that, it looks like he's actually going into the W build, excuse me, the Pressurized Lands. I could not remember the name. Currently have Rexpa. They're going ahead and stealing the vision away from ReGen. That's kind of interesting. And you saw the quick posturing. Like, they started going down. They're like, wait, what? It's like they didn't do it, but I don't know. These guys are playing really different. Like, I don't think I typically see these teams doing this. Now, the reason I do believe they did get the vision is to show off when they're going to go ahead and have the Greymane go onto this. They're going to dive onto Turtles here, but she will be able to get away with Savior just getting that health back up. We are going to have Rhaegar going ahead and getting the siege camp in that top lane. And we're going to have Murda capping the one in bottom. And then at this point, that is going to be timed out with the curse point, or first curse, which is going to be in the next, I believe, 10 or so seconds. I guess they'd be tribute point. I'm always unsure of which one. But either way, the first one is going to be bottom, so it's going to be the most beneficial lane for the person that has the global currently. It looks like they're going to go ahead and have Cigar will leave that lane. Okay. Going to try and just poke out Templar on the way down. If you have the pull onto Murda, he will be thrown over the wall. There is the swipe out. The disengage is there as well. Chromie getting a little bit of damage, but there is the... Oh, man. I just have to note, like, that level's 6 talent, no, 5 talent for Chromie, the Dragon's Eye. Just, as I was saying, like, dropping sand, like, that's exactly it. And then look at, like, Zul'Kan currently just, he's staying in lane, but just getting pushed back by Sierras there. They're going to go ahead and capture that first one over on the side of Alaska. Going to get the pull onto Turtles here, but the flip will unfortunately be onto a minion. We'll dodge the combo from Chromie there. Bubble this, just making sure, and that is actually going to be the kill onto Rexpa. Currently have a little bit of a chase from Turtles onto Bubble this, but they do not go deeper than halfway across the lane. Bottom lane is just going to be still kind of evened out here, but top, as we have seen, they really pushed this in. Sierra's really pushed this in, and actually, I think had enough time to back and get full mana, I'm assuming, yeah. And that should be Curse Point coming up. There it is, okay. So this is actually really good for the side of Alaska, at least the way that their team is kind of laning currently. Hedgie will have to rotate up about halfway into that mid lane, but it will kind of push this up, and it will start to get a little bit more pressure into that lane. And Yeah, this is definitely, at this point though, it's still kind of on the side of ReGen. If they go in, okay, they do actually, they get the toss out just for the defense. We currently have Murda and Turtles in that backline a little bit. Murda getting a little bit of damage onto Hedgie there. There is the time trap that did go out. We are seeing Sierra's kind of getting chased off here. Murda falling a little bit low. There will be the poke out from Turtles. Gonna try. Varen will try it once again. The Eldruin's Might is going to come out from Templar. Will he hit it again just to try and cancel? He will. He's going to try and delay this as much as possible for that Abathur. But at the same time, the one thing we have to note here is that, yes, Abathur is getting value in bottom lane, but that mid is getting pushed in by the camp that was picked up. Now, it did just end. Hedgie is chasing out one of the members. They are really spread out on the side of ReGen here. Templar falling extremely low. He will get the bomb. He will have his passive, which is the bomb at death. But it looks like they are going to be starting to rotate a few of the members out of the engagement area. Turtle's taking a little bit of damage, trying to shoot back. And there will be a little bit of, body soak from the Abathur. You can see that there is pretty even experience throughout this game. That Abathur doing quite a lot, but you can already see that it's being trumped by Sierras here in the top lane, just definitely consistently keeping this pushed in. Abathur doing as much as he can with the body soak as well as the hat soak when there are missing members in lane. But currently this Tyrael in the top lane is just, unfortunately, I don't think it has the damage in the clear. It has the harass for the Zagara, yes, but it unfortunately just can't push back quick enough before, he can get to gate. He has to go back and clear, and then it just lets Zagara back up into the lane. So, and at this point, we actually have Hedgie has free push in bottom currently, opening up this gate a little bit more, forcing Zul'Kan back a little bit. This is going to be the third point, and if Alaska does get this, it will be curse point. They are about halfway to 10 here, so the question is, do the teams try and delay for 10, or do they go in beforehand? Ooh, it's really close on the side of Alaska, actually. Currently postured up. I believe Hedgie still has the global. Looks like Sierras is going to be staying up in that top lane. And they're going to go ahead and capture this. There is no delay currently. 10s have been achieved from that fort falling in top. Will be the snap picks for the Nidus Network. Ancestor healing, slowing sands. The taunt and the gust for the disengaged Templar taking quite a bit of damage. He will be dying here. Curse point hasn't been collected yet. Rex, we're going to take a little bit of that blast. But at this point, top has been completely opened up. We are going to see Sierras rotating into that midpoint to at least get this experience as these minions die, being so far pushed up. In this top lane, this is the point where it becomes hard to be an Abathur. And I feel bad, because if you are starting to get pushed in, you want to play safe behind your gates. You don't want to, feed and be an AFK slug, even worse than you already are. And so, that's just the hardest part about actually the role. It's positioning yourself on a map in the way that you can body soak. Oh, we're going to have a flank from Bubble this onto Murda, going to get tossed into the backline. We're going to have a chase here. Savior taking quite a bit of damage. That dive is going to confirm the kill. The Ring of Frost does go out. It connects onto two of the members, but at the same time, Jaina will fall. The pullback is onto Murda. The toss out onto Varen. Does he have a slowing totem to get him a little bit slower? The boomerang did go out, and they confirm the kill onto Murda. Now, at the same time, while all this is happening, we still have Sierras in the mid lane pushing this in. He opens up that fort as well. They're going to go ahead, and it looks like they just give up the bottom lane. It should be confirmed over with the minions. They fly up into top. They go ahead and start onto this boss. Sierras, I think, is going to dive back in just to get mana and health, because I believe there is an increased speed. Bottom will get converted or picked up right away. We do have the Eldruin's Might in. He does have Sanctification at this point, so that is something that we need to consider. But they are full. I thought I saw someone on Death Timer, but at this point it's 13s to 10. So they can go in on this, yes, but at the same time, we already see them postured. The Gust is already out. The Taunt is there. They're making sure that they get rid of Templar, and they get the kill on him first. So now that there's no Sanctification, they just have to worry about the bomb. Bubble is going to be falling. Murda is going to be getting killed as well. There's a pushback. Rhaegar will be falling as well. Zul'Kan's going to be falling low, but Morales will be falling also. The slowing sands is on Turtles, and that is going to be the boss picked up, and every single one of the ReGen, at least, everyone but the Slug is going to be falling here, and at the same time, it looks like Alaska will just take that value of the boss Hearth back and just start to make sure that they get pressure on the rest of these lanes. I wouldn't be too surprised to see this camp picked up, and maybe potential little bit of prioritization on this boss. They are going to spawn and have to go straight to this. They can't really split their assets at this point. They do have the medevac, so if they can clear this quick enough, they could medevac down to the boss. I do believe the range is close. Granted, it will, of course, show on the map, and Alaska can prepare for it. But at the same time, looks like this will be burned down before that can even transpire. Whew. And this is going to be, yeah, so they're going to just stagger the bosses. That's going to pretty much... These two bosses are going to be the entire in-between time before we start our next curse phase, which is obviously, since it's been 3 cycle, we're going to randomize across the map, but it no longer can be in mid at this point. So, it looks like they're actually going to be pushing up with us. Volstead's going to fly forward. They are going to dive out there. Excuse me, the taunt went out as well, but they get the kill onto Greymane. They steal the camp away, and this is going to stack up with the boss very nicely. This is currently going to get them, I think, just the gate. I don't think they're going to be able to get the keep with this. 13s are really close on the side of ReGen. They do have the zoning control from the slowing sands, but they're just playing really, really safe on the side of ReGen. And it makes sense. I mean, they're down almost 2 talent tiers, and it looks like their keep is starting to take quite a bit of damage. Greymane is back now, so we should be seeing a clone quite soon come out. If they do want to go into this Templar, it will dive in, but he is going to be gusted right away, so they get the complete disengage. Sierras is already going to be postured up for this, and you can see across the map the vision that he has been putting here with the Nidus network, with the creep and the Nidus network. He has just gotten a lot of free reign across this map. He hasn't been really responded to. There isn't really anything that's clearing up any of his creep. Realistically, Aldruins might grenade, specifically Hat from Abathur and Jaina, I think. Jaina's Blizzard, I think, can clear it out. And so it's just hard for them on the side. Now, granted, Tyrael does have Burning Rage. Okay. It seemed too simple of a name. We actually have this time stop onto Turtles as she will be thrown over. Bring Frost Disco out. There is the Sanctification as well. There is one of the Rhaegar will be falling. There is the taunt onto a few of the members diving in onto Bubble This. Murda will be potentially getting that kill, but it actually will be Morales. Hedgie taking quite a bit of damage. The Gust for the disengage. Looks like the Banelings will go out, but at this point, they did get the camp captured, and I think it was just cleared out right away. So at this point, ReGen on the heel. Oh, Zul'Kan. Zul'Kan leaning out a little bit too far. Will be falling there in that top lane. Unfortunately, I think he was just sitting right on the creep too. And he just popped right out of that Nidus network. And so, okay, I was like, wait, that boss can't be ready yet. Okay, so that is going to be, it's going to be another 230. But this is exactly where I was talking. Okay, we're going to have the second curse point during this phase. They go ahead and get a little bit of a delay on this, but I think they might have to give this over on the side of ReGen. Or excuse me, on Alaska. Wow. Yeah, they don't have the time to poke this out or anything. Rex, but potentially, he does have some of the range, but they're gonna go ahead. Turtles will capture that over, and it looks like they'll just back off at this point. I mean, their lanes are significantly pushed in, and they have to kind of play very safe, but they're doing a very, very good job of the safe game. Like, I keep talking about how safe they're playing, and I keep saying it, but the thing is, like, they don't have 16. Their enemy does. They don't want to get in a position like this. Templar actually getting caught out on the rotation, but the Aldruins will get him out of there. The rest of the team is currently rotating into position, but they still don't have 16s. They need to play this safe. They really need to make sure that they just get the soak that comes to them. And also just getting that hat soak from Abathur will get them kind of that proxy soak that they need, so they don't really need to lane out too far. There will be the grenade out from Savior there, just to delay that for a few seconds. But Alaska doing a really, really good job of just pretty much keeping ReGen in their base. 16s have been achieved, so it is even talent tier. But since their attention is kind of divided at this point, they can kind of steal away at this gate. Looks like they will be coming out at this point. I mean, this is a pretty decent fight for them. If ReGen can take this, they can get a boss off of that, I do believe. Yeah, so they could potentially, if ReGen wins this, they could go ahead and get the boss on the side of Alaska. They just give it over. They're not even going to fight it. There is so much nice network. It looks like that they can't even get into kind of a posture here. So they go ahead and they give it over, and do they go for the boss? It seems to be they're postured for it, but they're not sure. And at this point, they do get the vision from Time Walker's Pursuit, but they're still kind of postured up. They're just, I love this. These guys are just kind of scouting each other out throughout the map. Bubble this will get the pull onto Templar. He will be thrown over. There is the stun on him as well. Does he get blown up, or does he get the Eldruins out? There is the Holy Ground to make sure that the members do get out safely. But it looks like everyone will hold on to their ultimates. Nothing being blown except for the Warlord's Challenge there. And it looks like they're just going to kind of posture up over here, spread some vision, and get a bunch of time traps out. Holy crap. They're playing so safe around this boss. And at the same time, the one thing that, like, I was noting that the Abathur, yes, it has all that value for, you know, delayed things. But at this point, Alaska, if they just delay things, Abathur has to deal with catapults. And that's not an easy task for an Abathur to deal with. At least in my opinion, it's just a nuisance. Now, the cleanse is going to go out into CS right away, making sure that they don't lose a member before this fight. And it looks like they're going to clear up a little bit of this vision. The time trap will be there, but they've set themselves up really well for this next point. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and confirm the next curse. Do they get the Eldruins in on time? Will not be there, and actually Templar will be dove in a little bit deep. They get some of that backline damage onto Turtles there. Sanctification does come out. They will be trying to just get so much value. The Ancestral Healing does come out in time. The bomb does not connect, and that is going to be, I believe, a core call at this point. I would only assume. I mean, a Morales out there, they don't really have the best defense. Sorry, but it's the truth. Morales going to use that medevac, going to be coming in here, and this looks like it's going to be game number 1. Looks like it's going to be going over to Alaska here. Alrighty, and game number 1 is going to be going over to Alaska. GG, well played. Alrighty, and welcome back. Hi, how is everybody? We'll take a quick peek at some of these damage numbers. Just Abathur getting so much value, but this is like Zagara 2,200, like not even 2,200 behind. I mean, there's just so much value that got out that came out of CRS's Zagara there, and this is why I kind of talked about it during that ban phase. And I mean, he got free reign during that map. He got a lot of free reign, and Abathur did have a lot of value in the early game. They did plan it very well, but the pacing kept falling into the favor of Alaska during that game, and because of that, obviously, I mean, we saw. I mean, they outpaced them. Sorry. There's like that feeling of like, I got a burp, but I'm not quite sure. But either way, phenomenal play out of both teams. I am super stoked to get into this next game. Just wanted to kind of go over some of these talents really quick, see if anything popped out that was anything crazy. Nothing really. Just overall, unfortunately, I don't think the Abathur got the value that it was intended. It kept them in the game very well. And I really like the experience and the play style and everything. Like, I'm not poo-pooing how it was played or anything like that. I'm just saying, it got pushed back by the Zagara so easily. So it was just one of those things that they played it a little bit better. So we are going to go ahead and set up the lobby for our next game. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Let me just get the captains invited. And I'll just talk to you guys until they get in here. So, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please, I appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that follow button. If you're enjoying the stream, I appreciate it. If you are ever wondering, you know, like, oh man, I really wish I could see like some of these old plays like from either of these teams, you're in luck. There's a YouTube page, and you can type !YouTube in the Twitch chat, and it will give you a link for that, as well as !Twitter will set you up with that as well. All right, I'll let them know. Let me know when teams are ready, and we're just gonna kind of hang out until then. I'm Bahamut. I do casting as much as possible. This is a Nexus Gaming Series matchup here, so I'm just really excited about this. These two teams, I wouldn't say there's like a rivalry, but definitely these two teams, I mean, they smack talk a little bit. Looks like we are getting the R's from everybody, so we're going to go ahead and get into this game. Game number 2 is going to be played on Infernal Shrines. And And Badcaster didn't update the asset. Let me go ahead and just do that really quickly so everyone knows what the score is. And of course, as everyone knows, well, not everyone, but if you are new to watching some of these matches, it is I wouldn't say like best of two, but it's 2 games. If they draw, it's 1 point to each team. If you take both the games, you get 3 points. So we currently have, I believe, the top 2 in Division B, I want to say. We're only like a week or 2 away. I think we're 2 weeks away from the playoffs, I believe. I have to check the schedule, but either way, tons of matches coming up. Like, I think I was like, someone said how many matches there were, and I was like, if they're all best of 3s, that's like about 24 hours worth of casting. Like, I'm so excited because like every best of 3 is like roughly 2 hours. But either way, that's gonna be good. So let's get into this draft. Alaska on the left, ReGen on the right. Alaska up 1 game here. They're gonna be hovering this Dahaka ban. Not a bad idea at all. Dahaka has a lot of good value in this map. There's a lot of good bushes for him to come through for the ganks. And just overall, his soak is very good. His push is very good. He's what like I consider like a true global, like, because there's like Falstead's like a semi-global if you really think about it, because of the fact that he's limited by the range. Now, you know, technically him and Abathur are the only. No, does Abathur? It just has to be. He just has to have vision of where he's going, I believe. And I believe just Dahaka just needs a bush. But there's pretty much a bush in every lane. So either way, just buying a little bit of time. Infernal Shrines overall, I mean, there's a lot of heroes you can ban out here. Zagara, honestly, wouldn't be a bad idea. There is value for it. I can see it working here. But there are other picks that Alaska has taken on this map. Chromie works on this map. And Chromie worked in the last map. So absolutely a very strong ban. First pick ETC right out the gate. I had talked in the last game about the value of ETC, and especially on a map like this where you're fighting these tight corridors, he gets so much value. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a potential Diablo come out of either of these teams realistically. Now, there could be an anti-synergy with ETC and the Apocalypse, but that is a comms thing. Now, this 1-2 slot on the side of ReGen. Did they go for the gray main like they had in the last game? Because that was pretty good. I like that. Gray main into what? What do you take on top of that? Sorry, I just want to make a note of something really quick. Double support. I think they're going to be taking a Vala or a Lunara. Now the question is, does Alaska take those things away before... Now, granted, ReGen won't get another pick until like 4 heroes are either picked or banned, essentially. 2 are going to go to Alaska and there's a ban and a ban. That's interesting. Like, I can't recall seeing like 1-2 slot support. I mean, it shows a little bit of the draft, though, in my opinion, because it definitely shows that they're going to be doing some sort of hyper carry here, I think.
I will fight to my last.
Okay, so ReGen will go. Or, I don't know why I'm back and forth with these teams tonight. Gosh. Alaska will go ahead and pick up Vala and Rhaegar. And so overall, I mean, it's a strong early game. They deny the potential Vala Tassadar combination. Yeah, no, I like that. And Vala works for the side of Alaska too, so it's not like they're just taking it just so that they can't have it on the side of ReGen. But I'm curious to see what they're going to be banning out, because once again, like, as I always note, like, there's, at this point, I realistically think you need to either focus specific heroes like that Zagara, or you need to look at heroes and say, all right, well, what's really good on this map, and then just take that away, because... Okay, good. Okay, they took away the Zagara. Do they just ban out the Lunara? Because the Lunara Tassadar works very well together, and I think the zoning will provide a lot of good for Lunara too. The vision she has is very strong on the map. Because, like, I don't know, like, what else do people often run with Tassadar? I had, like, some very, very, like, potato thought for a second. I was just like, what if they just went into, like, a quad healer? Tracer. Of course. Like, I've casted ReGen, like, the longest. Like, how did I not think of, like, Tracer? Like, man, they used to play Tassadar Tracer often. They used to also do Ariel Tracer, too, I believe. I don't know, maybe it's just Ariel Val. Either way. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the solo laner being picked up here on, as well as the tank, or they're going to be picking up the main damage in the tank. But definitely I don't think they're going to be flexing on that last... I think they're going to take the solo laner in their tank, and then maybe they'll flex on the damage. Ooh, that's risky, I think. What are you going to be picking up here, ReGen? Your draft threw me all out of wonk. I really like that glitch that Tassadar still has. Joanna works for the grouping. Greymane works for the shrines, as well as the team fight. So that's going to be their core 4. They're probably going to be doing... do they do the mid... Do they do the mid-bottom rotations? That's interesting. I'm curious to see if that's what they're going to be doing, or if they'll go into something more standard where they'll just do like a 1-3-1 or something, or they just do a 1-2-2. That's a possibility in the maps on the map laning. Anyways, on this last 2 picks on the side of Alaska. Abathur Illidan? Like, why not? I think I personally I kind of like it on this map. It's risky though, because the Punishers do snowball, but I don't think they're gonna go anything crazy like that. Maybe they go. Do they go for a Medivh? Well, they don't have really anything to dive too crazy. You go for the Falstad and Malthael. Okay. I like this. I really, really like the combination that they've picked up on the side of Alaska here. It's honestly just, it's well-rounded and strong. Not to say anything against ReGen, they've got a lot of sustain. I mean, Joanna's super hard to kill. Tassadar and Stukov in that backline putting out healing and shielding onto Greymane, as well as the Pustule bouncing. But who do they get for their solo laner here? Going up against a Malthael, you don't want anything like too high percentile. Do they go into like a do you go into a Nazeebo potentially? It's an option. I was like, Sylvanas works on this map too. Like, no one plays her, and she's probably not the strongest thing on earth, but there's a little bit of that kind of push power with her. Cassia. The blind is strong. They do have, I mean, a lot of auto attack. I worry about Cassia. Like, everyone says she's strong, but her limited range is what really worries me the most. The fact that she has to be so close is what worries me, and that gives a lot of room for ETC to slide in and get that displacement. But either way, we'll see. I could be completely wrong. We're going to find out in 1 second. Actually, after loading screen, but still, 1 second. Game. Switch, please. We'll do it the manual way. Okay, my stream deck was freaking out. It still is. Either way, we will do intros as we get in. I'm just going to fix my stream deck really quickly. Nope, that's the wrong thing. We're going to drop frames really quick then. As long as I can get rid of the booter for that. I think I did. Okay. Stream deck. There's like 3 different things, and if I miss the R, it just opens Steam. Okay. Let me just double check that Steam is not open. Let me just also double check that. Okay, cool. All right, we are in this game. So on the left-hand side, we are going to have Alaska, with Varen on the Rhaegar, Sierra's on the Malthael, Hedgie will be on that Falstead, Bolas is going to be on the ETC, and we are going to have Rexpa on the Vala. On the right-hand side, we are going to have ReGen with Murda on the Greymane here. Templar will be on your Joanna. Turtles will be on the Cassia. Savior will be on the Stukov, and Zul'Kan will round out the team on Tassadar. Good luck, have funds are out, and we are going into this game number 2. As they said in Celebrity Deathmatch, let's get it on. Alright, so at this point we do have Malthael currently in the top lane. We have Hedgie in the mid, and we have Bubble This, Rexpa, and Varen in bottom. Now on the side of ReGen, we're going to have Zul'Kan in that bottom lane, Templite, Turtles, and Savior in the mid, and Murda will be in the top lane in that solo position. So they're actually going to dedicate the Greymane for the solo lane. Now granted, that was pretty obvious once they picked up the Cassia. You're not going to solo lane with the Cassia into a Malthael. I don't think that works out. But at this point, looks like they're gonna be doing the 4-man rotation, or do they leave one behind in the lane? I'm not too sure. Their posturing says yes, but the way that they stay in the lane says no. So currently though, it looks like we're gonna do this 3-man in bottom, and it looks like they'll have to kind of switch around their assets here. I honestly think they drafted for a 4-man rotation, and the fact that Alaska isn't doing it is kind of throwing them off. Now, granted, they could just leave Zul'Kan in mid, I believe, with Hedgie. That should be a fine matchup. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and do that. And then they should be putting Templar and Turtles and Savior in that bottom lane. Okay, so it looks like they've adjusted their kind of laning on the side of ReGen to kind of match what they're doing on the side of Alaska here. And so, I mean, this bottom lane is where most of the fun will be for now, but it's just going to be kind of this back and forth. We probably won't be seeing an early kill an early death in this game, not at least until the Shrine phase. Now, we do have potential for a rotation to Zul'Kan. He does get the vision out, so you will see that happening. And this is where they get the value from Hedgie. He will be rotating into that bottom lane, looking like he will go get that soap, get a little bit more for his seasoned marksman stacks, and he's going to have that flight, so he can get in at any point. Puster will go out from Savior onto a few of the members, and they're going to rotate behind their gate on the side of Alaska, tap well if they need it, and both teams are going to achieve 4 at pretty much the exact same time. Looks like we still have Tassadar in the bottom lane, going to be swapping out with Hedgie. They're just doing rotations. Is it? It's Zul'Kan on the Tassadar, I believe, but we actually have a power slide through here. Does not connect. The blind goes onto 4 of the members. They do get the mark on the Turtles there. And at this point, the Shrine's not active, but it can be, and the game's just like sitting in there like, come on guys, like, you guys gonna do it? You're gonna just fight in top lane forever? And it looks like that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna kind of just posture at this point. They're buying time realistically for their 2 solo laners. Well, at this point, I guess Tassadar and Falstead, the solo laners, are just gonna be soaking up. And I mean, Falstead overall is getting stacks, and so is Tassadar. So they're definitely getting a lot of value on either side. But at this point, they haven't even activated the Shrine. This fight is just this never-ending fight. The slide comes through from Bubble This. The displacement's there. Turtles is taking a little bit of damage. Healing will go out from Savior there. The pole is on to Bubble This. Will be getting slowed. Rexpa taking a little bit of damage. That is going to be the first kill of the game, going over to ReGen. And with that, they right away go straight into the Shrine. They say, all right, we have a little bit of time. We have 10 seconds before the Vala's even up. We can at least clear out the majority of this, even potentially get the first Punisher. But it looks like on the side of Alaska, they're just going to go ahead and play it safe here. They're not going to go in for a 4v3. 3v4. And they're just going to start the lanes. We have Hedgie rotating between mid and bottom at this point. I believe during this entire phasing, he's gotten 7 stacks of Seasoned Marksman. When it started, I think it was at like 4. And I think Tassadar's got about 200 worth for his Psionic Shield, or Psionic level 1, Scion Fusion. This is going to be the first Punisher going over to ReGen. Now, the levels are just about even, maybe a tad more on the side of ReGen realistically. About 1,000 or so more. Either way, we have this Punisher being pulled over the wall, currently getting baited over by these by the fort and the tower, which will be doing a little bit extra damage. This gate will get burned down, and I mean that's pretty much all the value they get here. If they get a pick, potentially maybe they get the well, but realistically they will be backing off at this point. They already have Hedgie going up against Murda. He has rotated down here, so that will kind of slow the rotation from Hedgie. we'll have to kind of deal with Murda. But we do have an aggressive rotation in from Rex, but going to dive onto Murda here. Going to get that roll forward, and that is going to be the kill onto the Wolfman. Unfortunately, just getting caught out there as the rotation happened. Didn't see them dive from top lane. Do have a little bit of a chase onto Sierra, so slide in from Bubble This, making sure that his solo laner is protected. And it looks like there will be the clean disengage from both teams. We currently have Rexpa going up against Vulcan in this mid lane, getting him down to about near half health. But we do have a rotation from Bubble This and Turtles. Actually, the majority of ReGen, excuse me, two of the members of ReGen are just kind of passing through, it looks like. And Rhaegar Varen will go ahead and get this camp. That will start to push into the bottom lane. Turtles will have to deal with that as well. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a potential setup for a gank here on the side of Alaska. They definitely have their lanes pushed out quite a bit, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and just get some of these camps. And on the side of ReGen, they're just going to be going ahead and just playing the safe game here, working towards 10s, soaking up. They're not playing too aggressive, as you can see on the mini-map. Most of them are pretty much staying near that halfway mark. As I said, of course, I go up to Templar, who's just like on their side of the map, but he's going up against Sierras, which is going to be a little bit difficult just to kind of burn down that much health. Now, Rexpa is coming in this flank position. They don't see currently what's happening. F12. Oh, return to game. Never mind. We won't fiddle around with that. There's a way to turn on and off the vision. I can't remember the hotkey for it. I thought it was one of the later Fs, but we do have a dive on the Murda. He will be taking quite a bit of damage. That is the 50% reduction as well on the healing, and he will be dying to the multi-shot from Vala there. So that's going to be top lane pushed out quite a bit. They won't get much value at all from the siege camp or the shaman camp, and then theirs will actually be guided into the lane. This bottom is going to open up for the next Punisher. 10s are available on the side of ReGen. God, this is third time. Alaska. We have Mighty Gust, Tormented Souls. We're holding for ETC. It's going to be Mosh Pit. Rain of Vengeance from Vala and Ancestral Healing. Now, 10s have been achieved on the side of ReGen, so it is even game right now. Slight XP advantage. That's not going to do too much right now, but we do actually have Go for the Throat. We have Archon Form, Blessed Shield. We do have... Is that Valkyrie? And we actually have Massive Shove? What? Okay, I had to confirm those talents there for a second. Wait, what? No Flailing Swipe? But what about Tormented Souls? And, like, it's just... So, alright. Since there isn't really an engagement currently, I'm going to go on a rant here. Hold on. Bubble This is going to slide through towards the gate. Doesn't actually get anyone knocked back. They do get the Punisher at this point. All right, the whole thing is like, so Massive Shove versus Flailing Swipe. Massive Shove works on singular targets, but when you're in a team fight setting like this on a map where you actually are going to have a lot of these situations where you're going to be fighting like this, Flailing Swipe for the disengage is so much stronger. You're going to get rid of Mosh. You're going to get rid of Tormented Souls. You're going to get rid of any dive from the Vala, which actually they get the power slide in. There's the Massive Shove. So this is what I'm talking about. You just pushed back Bubble This into your well. So it just, I'm sorry to Savior for poo-pooing your talent choice, but like it's just Massive Shove is fun. I absolutely enjoy it in like a quick match setting where it's just like I'm here to just play the game and just like, I mean I semi-take it seriously, but like I'm gonna take Massive Shove in quick match. I won't take it in like ranked or unranked or anything, but. You just like that's my whole point. It's just it's singular disengage rather than team disengage, and that's the whole argument that I'm getting at. Either way, Punisher gets the fort. They get a little bit of damage onto this keep gate, but they disengage completely. They go ahead and they start working on these camps. Camp, because everything else appears to be taken over at this point. And realistically, they're just posturing for ganks. We have Rexpa in the bush, looking to see the rotation from anyone into the top lane because. They can't see this, but I know this is potential. Oh, actually, no. He doesn't see it, so they go ahead. Rotating. Oh, nope. You will go right back up, because I believe Hedgie called that one out. We currently have Joanna in bottom lane clearing out this camp, so they don't actually have a tank, and if Alaska decides to go in, they could really potentially go for a pretty strong fight at this point. We have 13s achieved on the side of Alaska, so that will be a little bit more of a buff to their overall. I'm trying to like read and at the same time talk about some of the talent picks. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary. We also just saw that the Scion Fusion at level 1 was just finished by the Tassadar. But with 13s achieved, they're going to go ahead and rotate. It looks like ReGen's stacking up as a 5-stack, but the one thing that's just really odd to me is they keep putting their tank into that bottom lane to clear, and just, it's one of those things, like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I don't feel like the members of their team are being utilized in the most efficient manner. I just don't feel like their tank should be clearing in bottom lane, because it's pulling the assets, and it really, you can see it right now. Alaska's is allowed to bully them literally off the camp at this point, because their tank has to rotate from that bottom position. They pull them out of the lane, and at this point they just disengage completely. They pulled the tank from the bottom lane, which was getting that little bit of extra soak. They put Hedgie back into bottom, I believe, and they're going to start working on this next shrine. Now, Gust is like all the ultimates are available. They currently have a little bit of a invade here on the side of ReGen. Alaska just going to back off because Hedgie is in that bottom working on some of the stacks, as well as just pushing that up, getting some more soak. Do have a Valkyrie pull, and there is Rex with diving out. The Ancestral Healing does go out as well. Tormented Swords is used. There is the push out from from Savior onto Bubble This. We do have the Gust out onto Templar and Murda. There will be the roll out from Murda, but he will be getting chased out here. There will be Turtles dying there. And this is going to be the team splitting up to try and chase down these 2 kills. Zulkan will get hit. Hedgie's going to walk away just like in the movie scenes. There will be the dive onto Hedgie. He will get the barrel roll away, and that will be the team wipe onto ReGen. And at this point, they actually, the same time, the Shaman did get a lot of value. I don't think it will be confirming the fort, but it's going to be very, 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 it's going to be decently low. Either way, they're actually going to delay this out. They're going to go ahead, and it looks like they're just going to push out their waves. Varen's going to go back, get full. They only need 1, so realistically, any sort of like multi-shot, splash damage, this is smart on the side of Alaska. They're going to get so much mount value, and even if literally ReGen gets to 38, they just need to go in and get that 39th. But even then, you know, ReGen can still win it over. You never know. It's a game of all possibilities, and they're starting to work these numbers down, and ETC will slide through, go ahead and get one of the minions on the way. And this is going to be a Frozen Punisher, which is going to have some good push with it, just so long as no one gets caught on the side of ReGen by any of the explosions. We do have the dive on to Tempo out there. The pull is on to Rex, but I do not believe they confirmed the kill. That Valkyrie just trying to pull in with the Valkyrie. Unfortunately, just right away the rollout, and Ancestral is already back up. The jump goes out onto 2 of the members. Power slide, huge mosh, but there's the singular disengage from Savior. They do get that right onto the mosh. That will be the Greymane killed, though, while this is happening. So, Punisher 10%, they get another fort during this phasing, and it looks like they're going to disengage right as it gets pulled over the gate again. And they're going to rotate up to top lane, and I would assume they're going to just confirm this fort. Murda won't be back for the next 10 seconds or so. So they definitely have the advantage here, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and utilize that. Looks like Hedgie flew right into bottom lane. They get the knockback right away. They're going to have to back off because Hedgie would go into bottom. They don't want to lose out on this engagement because of the fact that, well, they got it with some good poke damage. But that looks like it's going to be... Alaska's just going to open up this map. It's going to be about a 3-level difference currently. And they're just going to rotate onto these camps and just start keeping lane pressure. They're not going to be doing anything too crazy. I mean, they can see that there are a few members in that top. Sierra's taking quite a bit of damage himself. Looks like he'll be falling. The Valkyrie will get the pull, and they get the kill on him. But the unfortunate thing is, they dedicated 3 members into the top lane for that. Meanwhile, Alaska's been just running around the bottom lane currently, just pushing, soaking, and opening up. They're going to go ahead and open up this gate in bottom, which I believe this is the next lane for the Punisher, so that's not a bad idea at all. There is no, gate to bait over the Punisher. So mid lane could be opened up, and it looks like they potentially rotate up for that. They have the minion wave kind of there. With 16 so close on the side of ReGen, it looks like Alaska will be backing off here. But we do have another Punisher coming up in, I believe, about the next 30 or so seconds. So this is going to be... it's just going to have to be... There's a lot of cleanup on the side of ReGen, and it's going to work out for them pretty well because of the fact that they're just going to be able to soak experience, get closer. But at this point, with Alaska kind of rotating around the map, opening this up, they did, or at least pushing up the lanes with all these camps, they definitely kind of have the advantage here to go ahead and steal away this Bruiser camp, push this top lane up, and but at the same time, that's mid and bottom currently being pushed up. There's no gate in either of those, excuse me, just in bottom lane. And it looks like they might want to be trying to open this up for the future. It honestly, are they? What are they trying? Are they trying to backdoor a keep? Flight out through the gate. There is the shift from Zul'Kan. There is the Archon form. This is so weird. Like, just no one's going to the objective. They're just like, you know what? We're going to maybe just go dive the Tassadar and bottom. And they get the flight into the gate. The shift goes out. And then they just completely disengage from it. So they literally pull ReGen, like, into bottom lane and then just rotate back up. It's... What are people doing in this game? I just... We actually have the Valkyrie go out. There is the dodge from Rexpa in time, so they don't need to worry about that. Now the shrine will be opening up. Falstead looks like he will be going ahead and working down that camp in the top lane. So ReGen can technically take advantage of this, but at the same time, they are really close to 20s on the side of Alaska. Templar are going to be getting dove in on here. We do have the Tormented Souls going out from Sierras. There is the Blessed Shield that will kind of disengage us a little bit. Flight is out from Hedgie. We have a Gust. We actually get everyone but Turtles here. Separated a huge mosh onto so many of the members. Oh my god, they're going to be getting the kill into Greymane and Joanna and Tassadar and Cassia and Stukov. And so that is going to be 20s achieved. That Gust got everybody. But the other thing we have to say here is there was the Rain of Vengeance from Vala. There was the mosh pit from ETC. Like that setup there was absolutely phenomenal. And unfortunately, there was nothing they could do on the side of ReGen because the fact that Cassia has no way of knocking it out because I believe Valkyrie was still on cooldown at that point. What is the cooldown on Valkyrie? It's 60 seconds, and I believe it was used right before that engagement even happened. So I would assume it's still on cooldown. Either way, I mean they got so. Oh my god, that play. Oh, okay, so on the side of ReGen, it looks like they're going to go ahead and just push out their bottom lane, push out their mid lane, try and soak this up as best as they can, not lose out on any experience, just anything they can get before this big push. I mean, they've already opened up top. They literally can do the 39 hold if they want, which it looks like they're kind of postured for. I'm assuming they're going to wait for this camp to be coming up into the lane with them as well. So we are getting late into the game. This is a 17-minute Punisher. It's a Mortar Punisher. It's not the most powerful. It's not the most feared. But either way, I mean, this is still a pretty powerful Punisher. Try and say that too many times. And at this point, we just see ReGen. We're going to go ahead and just pull talents away. We're just going to get the zoom. The bait is out. They pull him over towards this keep. There is, looks like Alaska is just postured up. They're going straight for core, it looks like. Currently have dive onto the core. A few of the members are getting on the back line. There is the Gust away. They go in. The pull was, I believe, went onto Hedgie, but there is the massive shove. The Mosh is actually zoning a few of the members away. Currently, though, we do have Rexpa on the other side of the core, just putting out so much damage, just being completely ignored. They're starting to rotate on him. There is the the Rain of Vengeance onto him. That will be Vala dying, but we currently have the Punisher still up. We have the rest of the members, and that is going to be game number 2, going over to Alaska. GG, well played.